I'm just about a block and a half away. This is where emergency officials have pushed the media back. And so what you can see behind me actually is the entrance to the staging area. So that's where police, as well as emergency responders, as well as those investigators you mentioned, that's where they're coming in and out to access the scene. And the National Transportation Safety Board, they are the lead investigators here. So they have arrived and they have taken over the investigation here on the ground.
So let's go through the facts that we have as we continue to look at the live image. We have the impact of that crash. I mean, the accounts from people on board the train, Stephen, quite harrowing. Take us through what we've heard from them so far.
That's right. This is, as you mentioned off the top, the busiest commuter rail line in the entire Northeast in the United States and North America, and that's what makes this have such an impact for people in this area. Not only obviously the physical injuries and the toll from the deaths, but also psychologically, because so many people traveling between Washington and New York will take this rail line, and so people described trying to get out of that twisted mess that you saw, that you showed off the top, people crawling through any crevice that they could to get out, while at the same time others simply walking away while others were being taken on a stretcher. Let's hear from some of the passengers now as they describe what they went through.
Last night at 10 p.m. we started receiving patients from the train derailment, and over the course of the next few hours we got 54 patients and treated them. One of the patients who arrived here died from their injuries. We're not able to release any additional information about that patient at this time. 25 of those patients were treated and released, and 25 are still at the hospital.
And I could see the blood on people's faces. They can't move. Their knees were out. So I just tried to do my best and help people get out of that car.
I saw so many head injuries and, bloody faces, and, people were really injured. They were thrown out of their seats. One girl slammed into, one of the seats. There are a lot of fractures.
So there are some of the eyewitnesses, the people who experienced that, the absolute terror as they were thrown into chaos in the dark of night. Back to Stephen D'Souza. We also heard a little bit from one of the doctors at one of the hospitals, Stephen, that received some of the people on board that train. 6 dead, I mentioned, about 140 all told, treated in various area hospitals. Bring us up to date on where things stand from that standpoint, but also on the investigation. We know it's really picking up in earnest this morning.
That's right. The investigation is picking up, and there are still a number of people we believe that are unaccounted for. So we're hoping to hear from the mayor and city officials at around 11 o'clock this morning to get an update on any individuals who still may be unaccounted for. And then there was the investigation. What went wrong here? This is a spot where there is a curve, and so there is some indication that perhaps this train was traveling too fast, above the 55-mile-an-hour limit that is in this area, and that's what some witnesses have talked about. So that's going to be one of the primary things. Trains, like planes, have a recording device, a so-called black box, which records a lot of the data, which will help investigators determine what went wrong and give some answers, because this is traditionally a very safe way to travel between these corridors and these cities. And so a lot of people want to know just what happened here.
Stephen and Euro be on the scene for us as they put together the answers to some of those questions. Thank you so much, Stephen D'Souza.